Right on time.
It's Your God Call with Reverend Bill.
There's a story about someone who saw an elephant that was being restrained by only a small rope tied to its front leg. No chains, no cages. It was obvious that the elephant could break free at any time, but for some reason they didn't. The trainer explained that when the elephants are very small, they use the same size rope to tie them, and at that age, it's enough to hold them. As they grow up, they're conditioned to believe they can't break away, so they don't even try. How is that happening in your life? What old beliefs that have been holding you back are you ready to let go of?
I can see clearly now the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. Yes, I can make it now. The pain is gone, and all of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is that rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Look all around, there's nothing but blue skies. Just look straight ahead, nothing but blue skies. I can see clearly now the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Here is that rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, 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 sunshiny day.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you so much. And good morning, New Thought, Philadelphia. Doing river metaphors today. I'm right here next to the Delaware River. More of that story to be involved. You guys know the rules on Zoom. We went through the tech rehearsal with great glee and complete smoothness. We have everybody's got this nailed down at this point, which is just joyous and wonderful. So keep yourself muted except when we're sharing. And let's go ahead and share right now. Unmute your mic and repeat after me. I open myself to love.
I open myself to love.
Open myself to joy.
I open myself to
joy.
I see something wonderful unfolding now.
I see something wonderful
unfolding now.
Love is right here, right now.
Right here,
right now.
Now.
And so it is.
Oh, it is.
So it is.
What is?
Work that mute button one more time as I remind you that New Thought Philadelphia is an open and loving community of spiritual adventurers, welcoming each person to experience their divine nature in an empowering space of unconditional love. Whatever path you've been on, whatever brought you to our Zoom today, wherever you're heading next, we've been expecting you, and welcome home. We believe there's one power, love, intelligence, or force that creates everything, including each of us, and that we're each using that same power, love, intelligence, or force to create our lives according to our beliefs. So we like to say around here, your new life begins with a new thought. I'm Bill Marchiony, the spiritual director at New Thought Philadelphia. Our music today is Anna Varsniak. We have a couple of practitioners on duty. Carolyn Nixon, RSCP, and Breen Rourke, RSCP. I also got to remind you that if you have an electronic device that's going to possibly bother you or bother me sometime in the next hour or so, go ahead and turn it on shush or put it in the next room or do whatever is necessary to let us turn within and be connected. And now I will unveil Breen Rourke to do our opening prayer so we can pray in the way we begin everything.
Thank you, Bill. Good morning, everyone. What a beautiful day. So let's take a moment to acknowledge that, to be aware of this wonderful day, this wonderful expression of the infinite here and now. There is that one power, that one presence, that one divine activity that expresses through and as each of us, always through this idea that is New Thought Philadelphia, through the words, the music, the technology that brings us together. This experience of love and fellowship that we call New Thought Philadelphia is that one divine power in action. Everyone is drawn here on their path for some reason to be together today. And I am so very grateful for it. Grateful for all these bright lights of love assembled here, celebrating this idea of New Thought Philadelphia. I'm grateful for this good. I know that this good is here for each of us always. And I release my word into the creative law, knowing that it is so. And so it is. Yay. Prayer works. That's why we do it. And that's a great segue to the next part of the celebration called Prayer Works Stories. We hear about how prayer is working in your life. So you can wave your hand frantically in the Zoom. You can click the button, one of the reaction buttons, wave your hand, what have you, and we'll hear about how prayer is working in your life. And I know we got a few people that have some prayer work stories for us. Bill's got his hand up. He's demonstrating the electronic version, puts his hand up, and then jumps to the left-hand corner and rearranges everything on the screen for me.
I can do it either way. I can do it both ways. I can raise all of my hands. I have a what I consider to be a classic prayer work story that I thought I would be sharing. So obviously I'm here at the Delaware River on a little bit of a retreat for a couple of days. Yesterday, my desire was to hike the Appalachian Trail as it goes through the Delaware Water Gap. And there's always the question of, is there enough parking at the trailhead? And I wasn't particularly concerned because it's mid-November and it seems like there wouldn't be huge crowds. And in order to get to the side of the to the other side of the river, I'm staying on the New Jersey side, I had to drive through the Delaware Water Gap, and I went through the park and went past the parking lot on the New Jersey side, and it was completely packed. And I thought, uh-oh, I really don't want to have to park in town and then hike up to the parking lot so that I get to the trail. So I did my usual little practical prayer for perfect parking place. And it's not for God to create a parking space just for me. It's a timing thing to invite that perfect parking space to be available when I get there. So I drove up to the access road and into the parking lot of the trailhead. And just as I'm driving in, of course, there's a big truck that's driving out. The parking lot is rather full. There are people parked on all the little spaces on the side of the road where it's not marked for no parking available now. There were a couple of spaces all the way down at the end in the mud. I think I didn't really drive down that far, but the parking space that was closest to the trailhead, perfectly dry, exactly the right amount of space for my car, had obviously just been vacated by the truck that left. So prayer works.
Wonderful.
Nice hike.
Parking. Parking's awesome. Sarah.
Okay, I had two. One was a quick parking one as well. My friend Steph left South Philly last night at like 11:30, and she was worried about parking once she got there, we did a practical prayer that like the perfect size spot would actually be perfectly ready for her. And so she texted me after requesting the prayer and then was like, I found a quasi legal but perfectly safe spot. And I'm like, that's a win. And she didn't wake up this morning with a ticket. So that's double wins. And then the other one is I'm working on a very high end and very detailed project in New York City right now that has a very fast track timeline. So it's like the triangle of like good, fast, and cheap. We're like good and fast right now. Like we're going real fast. So bottom line up front, I did a prayer that this big all hands on deck meeting would be like spirit recognizing spirit, and that it would be like we would be able to weave together to create this beautiful quilt that is this project, and that I would be able to like receive feedback as needed and be able to like absorb and like move forward with confidence instead of like reactive or defensive. And so I knew like halfway through when like everyone's laughing and having a really good time, and the most hard-nosed one up until that point has a very thick accent, and he said to me, Sarah, I feel like I finally met you today, and we are going to be able to do great things. And any problem that occur, we just communicate and we get done. And I was like, yes, that's it. And so I was like, left that meeting being like, all right, prayer really does work. When you set the intention to like be steady, I'm setting you up for river metaphors, be steady like a river, and also like, you know, be rapid like a river when you need it. But you're doing it in communication with all the people in your boat, like things can be really cool. And so, you know, never forget. Prayer works. Okay, I'm gonna stop.
Prayer works. It does. I love project prayers. That's so awesome. I've got a quick one. This prayer in particular is a kind of a long time in the making. As many of you know, I've got triplet granddaughters. And my daughter had a very high risk pregnancy. They were born at 30 weeks, lots of time in intensive care, some touch and go moments. They were teeny tiny when they were born. And they just celebrated their 10th birthday. We were over there yesterday. They're so full of life and energy and goodness. And I can't believe they're double digits. So prayer works. We had a lot of prayer and they were little preemies. And now they're not. So prayer works. Give it a whirl. If you're not sure what this practical prayer thing means, we've got practitioners that can pray with you and help you. So check that out on the website, newthoughtphilly.org. And speaking of the website, we're going to hear more about the website and all the cool stuff from Carla Ann, who's got our announcements.
Good morning, everybody. This flow of information is on our website at newthoughtphilly.org and in our weekly e-newsletter. Please sign up on the website so we can keep in touch. We host 15-minute meditations on Zoom twice every day. If you haven't taken part or been lately let me try that again. If you haven't taken part, they're inspiring, fun, and quick. Our winter solstice celebration on Thursday, December 21st at 7 p.m. will be hybrid from the Falzer Club as the longest night of the year begins and celebrate knowing the full faith and conviction of the return of longer days that are about to begin. Yippee! Episode 127 of Reverend Bill's Practical Prayer Podcast is Mental Equivalence. It's awesome. Get it where you get your podcasts. Join in a live online recording session on New Thought Media Network at 1 p.m. on Monday. Follow our social media on Instagram, Facebook, Insight Timer, and YouTube. And join the 1,644 spiritual adventures in our group on meetup.com. The Power of 8 Intention Circle meets on Zoom every Monday at 6:30 p.m. If you haven't taken part, please join us tomorrow for this powerful group spiritual practice. Get God calls on your phone or voicemail. They come in 4 times a week at random times between 8 and 6. Sign up for a free 2-week trial at godcall.org. Give God Calls as a gift and get an extra month for free with a 3-month subscription on Black Friday. We are grateful for your tax-deductible donations by Zelle, Cash App, check, PayPal, Venmo, credit, or debit card. Thank you to the team that makes our celebrations work and has fun doing it. To join the joy, contact the lovely Sandy. Next Sunday is online with Thank God. It'll be Thanksgiving weekend, and Reverend Bill talks about gratitude as a feeling we can have and also as a way of being. Live original music by Emily Drinker. Reverend Bill and the practitioners are available for professional sessions by appointment. After the celebration, Green is available for a quick miracle and a minute prayer. We'll leave the Zoom meeting open for a celebration and for casual conversation. And that's that.
Yay. Thank you, Carla. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Well, we have a special blessing for our first-time visitors. And there's a couple names that I don't recognize, but I don't know everybody who's anybody. But if you're first time with us, if you'd like to raise your electronic hand or turn on your camera and wave to us, or just say, yeah, I'm here, but I'm going to keep to myself, that's cool too. We love to welcome new visitors to New Thought Philadelphia. So if anybody's new, we're going to give you a blessing. So everybody rub your hands together, generate some nice warmth, and we'll send out some love. You are a bright light of divine love. Thank you for sharing your light with us, and welcome. So the next thing we have is what we call our, what do we call it?
Greeting.
The greeting song. Thank you. I'm trying to find my... looking at the run sheet with the brain fart. The greeting song, when we're in person, we walk around the room, we hug, we high five, we elbow bump, we fist bump, whatever we happen to have. And we also look at everybody up on the Zoom screen. But when we're hybrid, we can go on gallery view and you can look around at everyone while Anna sings us another song.
Don't you worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Don't you worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Rise up this morning, smile with the rising sun. 3 little birds pitched by my doorstep, singing sweet songs of melodies pure and true, saying this is my message to you, saying don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Saying don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Rise up this morning, smile with the rising sun. 3 little birds pitched by my doorstep, singing sweet songs of melodies pure and true, singing this is my message to you, singing don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Singing don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Singing don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Singing don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Rise this morning, smile with the rising sun. 3 little birds is by my doorstep, singing sweet songs of melodies pure and true. Singing, here is my message to you. Singing, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Singing, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright. Singing, don't worry about a thing, 'cause every little thing is gonna be alright.
Absolutely beautiful. So wonderful to have you with us. Karen is going to lead us in the Flames of Faith from scenic and sunny Dover, DE.
We perform this ceremony to acknowledge that all people and all faiths come from one power, love, intelligence, which we call spirit or God. We honor the richness that comes from our shared diversity and bless the interwoven energy of the divine feminine and masculine. We light the first candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the second candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous people, the way of primal spirituality. We light the third candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the fourth candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the fifth candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light the sixth candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the seventh candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light the eighth candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light the ninth candle for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through practice of universal spiritual principles. As we light the healing candle, please put silently into the light the names of anyone or any place you wish to have experience the healing flame of God's eternal love.
And we include all the people in Gaza, Israel, Ukraine, and anywhere else that there is conflict. Blessed be. The reading today is brought to us by Dana. It's from A Deep Breath of Life by Alan Cohen.
Grow with the flow. I said to a man who stood at the gate of the year, "Give me a light that I may tread safely into the unknown." And he replied, "Go out into the darkness and put your hand in the hand of God. That shall be to you better than a light and safer than a known way." Quoted by King George VI of England. That was a long time ago. 2 men were walking beside a river on their way to a town downstream when a storm broke and a flash flood washed both men into the river. One man panicked, tried to fight his way back to shore and drowned. The other man realized that the torrent was beyond his control and relaxed to the best of his ability, letting the river carry him. To his happy surprise, the river deposited him on the banks of the town he was headed toward in a much shorter time than it would have taken him to walk. When you come up against a situation you cannot control, trust that the universe is working on your behalf. When we fight what is, we lose our power. The sage capitalizes on the energy at hand and makes it work on his behalf. Help me to remember that you are present in all situations, guiding me home even when I cannot see how. I am always in the presence of love. Everything that happens to me is part of the plan for my good.
There are cracks up in the walls, silent echoes down the halls, 100 empty stalls that lie in wait for a choir that never sings, bells that never ring, a way of life that's long since been replaced. It's hard to find a lifeline when skyscrapers steal the skyline, 'cause prayers fall on deaf ears when you're alone. But if you stand and stare, you see what always has been there, 'cause heaven's been beside you all along. So say hello, hallelujah. One day this pain will pass on through, yeah. Don't you give up, it's far too soon yet. Say hello, hallelujah. There are flowers in a concrete, right side to every wrong street. Silver linings can be anywhere you look, like the halo of a city, or the comfort that it gives me. I'm better off for all the time I took. It's hard to find a lifeline when skyscrapers steal the skyline, 'cause prayers fall on deaf ears when I'm alone. But if you stand and stare, you see what always has been there, 'cause heaven's been beside you all along. So say hello, hallelujah. One day this pain will pass on through, yeah. Don't you give up, it's far too soon yet. Say hello, hallelujah. Say hello, hallelujah. One day this pain will pass on through, yeah. Don't you give up, it's far too soon yet. Say hello, hallelujah.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you so much. Hallelujah. Talking today about river metaphors, and I am on a retreat now, and right behind me there is the Delaware River. I'm just south of the Delaware Water Gap on the New Jersey side, and this was going to be a vacation, a little getaway for me and Dina, and then life happened and intervened, and it turned into a solo retreat for me, with Dina at home taking care of whatever's at home, including the dog, etc. And it's a reminder about going with the flow. The talk is river metaphors because the rivers have so many metaphors in our life. There's such a tendency for us to not necessarily attach meaning, but gain understanding by observing or engaging or interacting with a river. And one perfect example is river songs. There are so many river songs. Oh my goodness. I started going over river songs and just there are way too many of them. There's Old Man River, watching the river flow. The river is deep, the mountain is high, Ike and Tina Turner. There's lots of them. We were doing our sound check and Sarah said, ooh, Around the River Bend from Pocahontas. Because everybody has river songs. There's lots of river songs. And they all have different perspectives and different meanings and mean something different to each of us. Think of what not even your favorite, a noteworthy river song is to you. And then maybe there's a reason for that. Or maybe there's not. Maybe it's Cry Me a River or Moon River. Take Me to the River or Proud Mary. Doesn't have to have river in the title, but it can be about that. And we think of the river as the water flowing. And Joni Mitchell did a song about river, and she wants to have a frozen river so she can skate away. So there's a lot of different ways to think about the river. Run, river, run. Let's do that. When Dina, in 1999, really wanted to write songs. And she was convinced that she couldn't write songs because she didn't play an instrument. And somebody said, you know people who play instruments. And she realized that she could write a song. And the first one that she wrote was Take Me to the Holy River. And then she wound up founding the Philadelphia Songwriters Project and got involved in a bunch of projects where songwriters would get together and share the songs they'd written, and she would produce programming. And it was very exciting. It's still a on again, off again sort of a thing. It's introduced us to some wonderful musicians. And one of my favorite events, a few of you actually got to take part in that, was one called Beyond Measure. And the idea was to get a singer-songwriter to give us a song, and then there would be musicians who would arrange it for a choir. And the final product was this beautiful choral concert with hundreds of people in attendance. And the final song had been arranged by our friend John Conahan, and it's called River Run. And it's absolutely spectacular and getting me inspired once again by the power of the river metaphor and what the rivers mean to us. So I'm sitting here in this lovely little Airbnb next to the Delaware River, and the Delaware River is flowing from that side down this way. And well, we'll start with the downstream end. It's like Philadelphia is downstream, and so is Delaware and the bay and the ocean. So we know what's down there, and many of us have paid the toll to get across the Delaware River at the Betsy Ross or Ben Franklin or Walt Whitman or another bridge in that area. And then further north is Trenton and New Hope and other towns. And then we get up to where I am, which is the Delaware Water Gap. And it goes farther and farther up, and it gets smaller. It gets narrower. It's really wide. It's quite grand at Philadelphia, a mile across, maybe even a little more. And here, it's not nearly that big. And my prayer partner, John Hannes, who lives right on the Delaware River on the Pennsylvania side, way up that way, the river's probably only 20 or 30 feet across at that point, and maybe 6 or 10 feet deep, depending on what the rain has been like. And once, just for fun, I traced the Delaware River all the way up and all the way up through New York State. And on the Google map, basically, there is the Delaware River, which is just a little tiny creek at one point. And then there's no listing of what it is. It goes basically behind the parking lot at, I think it's a Tractor Supply. And then there's no more river. So the headwaters of the Delaware River is a Tractor Supply store in upstate New York. And it doesn't matter where it starts, because as it goes, as it grows, as it moves, it becomes a river. It becomes quite irresistible. And the experience of going upriver versus going downriver are very different. There's the row your boat gently down the stream. Going upstream is work. Going downstream is not work. And so understanding where we're engaging in the flow can be really important, because if we are, like we heard in the reading, if we let go and go with the flow, then it's possible that something wonderful is going to happen to us. And if we spend all of our effort and all of our energy struggling, then we don't get the experience that we want. It is possible to change the flow of a river. One of the things that changes the flow of a river is a natural disaster. Sometimes another river flows into it, and then a river that was flowing in one direction starts flowing in the other direction. That's bad. I used to be into scuba diving a lot, and some people I know who were diving in a cave were in basically a spring, which is an underground river that flows up, and something happened. There was an underground cave in, and it started flowing in the opposite direction. It became a sink, and that was bad. It's really a bad situation when a river unexpectedly changes direction, whether it's above surface or not. It's very rare for a river to spontaneously change direction. It is possible to change the flow of a river. The thing to do, though, is not to push against the water. Pushing against the water doesn't do us any good because the water is in a flow and it's irresistible. What we get to do is change the riverbed, open up a new channel, and the water that's flowing anyway will flow in a new direction. That's one of my favorite river metaphors about how we can take the process that is already underway, the flow that's already happening, and invite something new to happen in our lives. And there's always a possibility to be able to do that. I've talked before about the challenge. If we have 100 tons of something, engine blocks, sand, barley, whatever it is, we have 100 tons of something, and we want to move it hundreds and hundreds of miles. We want to move it from Minneapolis to New Orleans. All we have to do is put it on a barge, and the Mississippi River will carry it from Minneapolis to New Orleans. Very little effort is required. If we want to take that same thing and move it from New Orleans to Minneapolis, much bigger deal, much more logistics and energy and so forth that are involved in that. That's work. And it's not that it's impossible, it's just that the nature of it is different than if we're going gently down the stream. What is your experience with a river as it flows gently in the same direction all the time? You can sit on the river and watch a kayaker show up upstream and come down and disappear downstream. And they're having a different experience of the river than you're having as you're sitting watching them. Or somebody who's in a raft or a tube. There's not a lot of that going on in mid-November here, but it's the same sort of river where that stuff does happen. And there are lots of rivers in our lives. The really clear river metaphor is the river, because it's a river. And it's kind of obvious that it is, and you pay a toll to get across it. And if you've ever been on a trip someplace where you're going from here to there and you encounter a creek or a brook or a river or something that you can't just step stones to get across, it becomes quite a challenge. Now it's a navigation issue because the river is doing something different than what you had in mind. And you need to understand that the pieces fitting together is now going to be a bigger challenge than just traipsing across the meadow. Time is a river. Time is a river flowing from this moment into the next moment into the next moment. And we can trace ourselves back upstream to all of the moments that have come before, and downstream to all of the moments that are coming next. I've been studying the book Living Untethered by Michael Singer. And he does a whole section about time and how time is unfolding and how everything, I mean, I like to tell the story about the Big Bang and Genesis, and he's spent 4 or 5 chapters going into the really arcane detail of exactly how it happens and why everything that happens today is based on things that have happened in the past. So everything is a predicate for everything else. And everything flows moment by moment into the present moment and into the past. And we are always at this present moment and able to engage with it in whatever way we're going to engage it. So we can pay very careful attention and be aware and completely mindful of everything that's going on. Or we can take a nap, or we can ignore it, or we can think that it doesn't apply to us. We don't have to do anything. We just have the opportunity at every moment to engage in the present moment. And our lives are flowing downstream. One of the points that Singer makes in the book, which is just wonderful, is that when we look out from our eyes now into the world around us, we're seeing the world from our perspective. That's us in there looking out. And if you look in the mirror, you see yourself today, the boy or girl or man or woman that you are. And if you remember back to when you were a kid, when you were 6 or 7, and you looked in the mirror, you saw something different in the mirror. You saw a 6 or 7-year-old kid, but that was still you doing the looking. What's changed is the perspective, and that flow of time has happened. And it's still that same awareness, that same consciousness that's looking. So inside of that little girl, as she's looking into the future, as she's looking at what she's inviting, very likely seeing a woman, successful, talented, beautiful, famous, rich, happy, talented, successful. All of those things that we find to be uplifting. Same thing with a little boy. It's looking at in the mirror. A 10-year-old boy is looking in the mirror, and he's, seeing the strong man who is capable and talented and skilled and maybe famous and dashing and powerful and whatever successful means there. And still downstream, there's more. A little girl is probably not looking into the future and seeing an old woman with wrinkly skin, or somebody who's going to need polygrip. It's part of the same flow. The same thing for the little boy, not thinking about the age spots or the wrinkles or the making noise when standing up from the couch. Maybe not thinking about those same things, but that's what the flow entails. That's what the flow involves. And having the little boy or the little girl say, well, not me, I'm not going to grow old. Well, yeah, they're going to grow old, or something bad will happen. So, there are a lot of different possibilities. We're not looking at inviting something that's going to be unpleasant, but we may not be thinking about the things that are going to be a natural consequence of the life that we're living. Our life is flowing downstream, and we're flowing with it, and we can struggle against it, and it really doesn't help that much. And sometimes it can work counter to our desires, or we can find a way to float gently down the stream. Because if this river is going to be going from here to the Betsy Ross Bridge, then me arguing with it and fighting it and saying, no, I want to go upstream, that's just going to involve a lot of work and a lot of struggle for me. Now, if I want to get from here up north, then perhaps I don't want to do it on the river. Perhaps I want to find a different way of engaging with that. The river's still flowing. My experience is going to be different than it would be flowing gently down the stream, but I am at choice. I get to make those decisions myself. I get to invite something new into my life. We've talked about perspective a lot lately, about the way that you look at something changes the way that it looks to you. And I had a great perspective experience yesterday. I went for that hike on the Appalachian Trail. So I left from where I am on the New Jersey side of the river, and I went up to the Appalachian Trailhead on the Pennsylvania side of the river. And I started hiking, and it was a beautiful, crisp fall afternoon, about 50 degrees, nice invigorating hike. The scenery is absolutely spectacular. The sunshine was bright. It was gorgeous. It was absolutely gorgeous, with a view of the Delaware Water Gap and the river. And it was wonderful. And if you've ever been to the Delaware Water Gap, that's where Interstate 80 goes across the Delaware River. So it sounded like an interstate. And there was no way of getting away from the sound of the interstate. And if you didn't want to be listening to an interstate, then that was very much not the right place to be. But the idea is that was there. And I knew that the interstate was there before I went on the hike. So I said, am I going to let my perspective be distracted by the sound of trucks and tires and road noise? Or am I going to be able to let that go and focus on the good that I'm looking for? And we're all always free to do that. Whatever gently down the stream means to you, you get to open to that and invite it in and have your river metaphor unfold for you. Are you a moon river? You going to cry me a river? Are you old man river? Or are you going to let that river run? Your river metaphor is at hand. Open to something new and wonderful and let it flow because you deserve it. So it is.
Now it is time to move into quiet contemplation. And I am very aware that there are many, many river metaphors, and I will be presenting yet another one to you. So let us begin. Close your eyes if it is safe and comfortable for you to do so. Take in a deep breath and draw in every blessing you have received in this celebration. And as you let that breath go, release it with gratitude. And as you draw in another breath, become aware that there is no time in spirit. There's only this perfect, sacred, precious, eternal now moment. As you let this breath go, become fully present right here and right now. And as your breathing resumes in a way which fully supports your well-being, I invite you to open your mind's eye and to allow a river to appear before it. And explore that river with the fullness of your senses. See it, hear it, smell it, touch it, taste it. Float upon its surface or go beneath its surface. I invite you to look at that river once again and see that brilliant, bright light of spirit in motion. Very gently bring to the surface of your consciousness whatever you are desiring to release, but no longer serves you. And allow that light to wash upon you, to flow through you, and to set you free. Together we enter into quiet.
that river that is infinite spirit flows through each of us. We're all tributaries, forks of that river, individualized streams that flow out into the world, bringing light and love and goodness and infinite expressions of that one spirit. That river that is that infinite love, divine creativity, that energy that flows through each of us, that life force, is God in action here and now. That flow brings new ideas and takes away old ideas. It is ever moving, ever evolving. As we allow that expression in our lives, we open to greater ideas of divinity within ourselves and our lives. And I'm so very grateful to know this truth, grateful to be aware of this river of love, of life, of goodness, of creativity, of health and harmony, of prosperity, of spirit that flows through me and everyone. It is alive and well here and now, and I am grateful for it. It was gratitude and love and thankfulness. I release this word into the law, the creative law that always says yes, and once again says yes. And so it is. I invite you to take a nice, deep, cleansing breath, breathing in fully, and exhale. Bring some gentle motion back to your body. Maybe wiggle your fingers or toes. Shrug your shoulders. When you're ready, gently open your eyes. Bring your attention back to the celebration as Anna sings us another song.
Been running, chasing tomorrow, yesterday, next year, and the future. Afraid that some things will not come, that I'll be running out of time. But there is nowhere I need to be. Timelessness this second sets me free. Right in this moment, I'm so alive. Been waiting for so long just to arrive. Couldn't find the answer yet somehow. It's now, it's now, it's now. It's now, it's now, it's now. Tell me, where does life happen? Why is the present not enough to last? You're living now, but search for something better. Tomorrow it will be the past, but there is nowhere I need to be. Timelessness this second sets me free. Right in this moment, I'm so alive. Been waiting for so long just to arrive. Couldn't find the answer yet yet somehow it's now, 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 it's now. Waiting for someone to show you how to. Maybe this time you're gonna find your way, be strong. Looking everywhere for something that's been here all along. But there is nowhere I need to be. Timelessness, this second sets me free. Right in this moment, I'm so alive. Been waiting for so long just to arrive. Couldn't find the answer yet somehow. It's now, it's now, it's now. It's now, it's now, it's now. It's now, it's now, it's now. It's now, it's now, it's now.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you, Anna. Thank you. Thank you. So it's time to get in the flow. This is our wisdom share, the opportunity for you to share your river song or some inspiration or insight or some flow that's happening for you. Go ahead and wave your hand or use the little digital reaction button. Go ahead and give voice to something that's come up for you. Sarah.
Okay, so two things. First, fun thing. I would love to make a New Thought Philly River playlist. So I'm gonna just drop the link into the chat and you can either add your own or send to me. And I would love to listen to all of our river journeys in a playlist format. I love music. So that's my first thought. My second thought is that my river song is not actually Cry Me a River. That part was just a joke, but it is the Pocahontas song, Just Around the River Bend, because she taps on a lot of points. And I love Disney. I'm a child. It is what it is. So she says at one point, you can't step in the same river twice. That's like the first line. And this idea that the water is always changing, it's always moving. And so not being like stuck in your ways and being able to like go with that flow and be able to refocus as needed and to create new channels when the river flow that you're on isn't quite in alignment with what you feel is right. So that's my first thought. And then Bill, you said the thing about river being a time, or river, like another metaphor for a river would be time. And that ties into that song for me too, because she is equating her choice in life of going the easy route or going with things that seem a little bit more difficult or problematic in some way. And the idea of how fighting upstream to slow down time, to not embrace this journey of time that we have, and how she equates, like, if she goes the easy path, then somehow her dreams are no longer like fully in focus. And like she has this like idea that if she chooses the easy path, then therefore her dreams are dead. And so there's something really interesting in that is a choice too, that like thinking that if you accept this natural tendency of things that move to slow down, that like fighting that is even a choice. And so somehow it made me so weird the way my brain thinks, made me think about the new Golden Bachelor that's out, where it's 65 plus still trying to find love. And the idea that how inspiring that is for me as a 30-something-year-old to watch humans of any age be restored in hope and in love, and how that ties back to this river and time metaphor for me. Sorry, I'm not going to cry, but that like there is this acceptance of like that there is this if you accept time progressing, like there is beauty in that, and that is really the dream, being able to like trust and know and still keep hope and still choose love when things don't feel like they once did. I hope that made sense. I'm going to stop talking now. Love you guys.
Yeah. Thank you, Sarah. And regardless of whether we're, teenagers and first love, or younger or older, it's still the same me inside looking out at the world and engaging with it. Breen.
So I was thinking about my experiences on various rivers, and a couple of things. One is, how vastly different the same river can be. If you go up the Delaware, there's some spots where it's really low and flows is light, and you can practically walk across it. And you come down to Philly and it's huge, and Jersey's way over on the other side. And I think about also the Schuylkill River, and I spent time boating and swimming, and you can all go, ooh, but it's not horrible swimming in the Schuylkill River. But and I love doing open water swims. I prefer lakes, and I love the ocean. But rivers, if you swim downstream, you have to swim back upstream to get where you started. Or if you want to swim across the river, you kind of got to swim upstream a little bit, or else you go way off course. And sometimes it's necessary to swim upstream to get where you want to go. And I think about the salmon going upstream to spawn. And I need to wrap my head around this, because it's like in New Thought, we think, oh, your beliefs can create your life. And if you change your thinking, you change your life. And in theory, you could create this life that is easily and effortless in everything that you do. So that flies in the face of needing to swim upstream against the current. But the experience I've had is that there are times when life is challenging and difficult, and it's like swimming upstream, and you just got to keep going, and you just got to shut up and swim. And there's the old saying, if it was easy, everybody would do it. And I guess it can be easy, and it's all about our belief system and what we really can allow into our lives. But there are times, when swimming upstream is necessary. And so thanks for that.
Thank you, Breen. Yeah, and there's times, somebody says, I need you to lift, this 100 pounds over and over and over again. You say, oh man, that's a lot of work. And then you say, well, I want you to do it for exercise, because it's going to be good for you. And the 100 pounds is going to wind up in the same place that it started. But the purpose is not moving the 100 pounds. The purpose is exercising the body. So yeah, there are times when we're working, but it's not that it's draining us. It's that we are creating or accomplishing something that is not just can be scoped out by the task at hand. Sometimes swimming upstream is a good workout. Thank you, Breen. Anybody else? All right. Sarah, I love the idea of a river playlist. That is great. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. And so put your songs into the river playlist, and we'll see how many that other people came up with that we didn't think of ourselves. Carla Ann, the offering.
New Thought Philadelphia is all about spreading the love. Our community is supported by your contributions. The gift you share helps fund our work in the world, and the way you shine your light spreads the love. We are grateful for every way that you share. We don't have a basket today, but there is a donate button on the website to make a donation by credit card, PayPal, Zelle, Cash App, you name it. You can also mail a check to our office in Ardmore. The offering affirmation is on the screen, and we'll say it together. I live
in an abundant universe.
I am one.
I'm one with the infinite source of all good.
I'm a
I
soul.
am the center of conscious prosperity.
I enjoy the
I
enjoy
enjoy
the richness of life.
I
I
bless
my
my
gift.
gift. I
I
share
share
my
my
gift
gift
with
with
gratitude and joy. I know that as I give, I do receive. And so it is.
And
Amen.
so it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you all so much. Wonderful, rich river metaphors. Anna, one more song for us?
Give me a word, give me a sign. Show me where to look, tell me what will I find? What will I find? Lay me on the ground or fly me in the sky. Show me where to look, tell me what will I find? What will I find? Oh, heaven, let your light shine down. 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 Love is in the water, love is in the air. Show me where to look, tell me, will love be there? Will love be there? Teach me how to speak, teach me how to share. Teach me where to go, tell me, will love be there? Will love be there? Oh, heaven, let your light shine down. Oh, heaven, let your light shine down. Whoa, oh, heaven, let your light shine down. Oh, heaven, let your light shine down. Give me a word, give me a sign. Show me where to look, tell me what will I find? What will I find? Lay me on the ground and fly me in the sky. Show me where to look, tell me what will I find? What will I find? Oh, heaven, let your light shine down. 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 Heaven, let your light shine down. Heaven, let your light shine down.
Wonderful. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, thank you. And thank you, everybody. What a wonderful Sunday morning to be beside the river. Let us close with another joyous cacophony and continue adding your stuff into the playlist there on Spotify. Keep this thing going. Go ahead and unmute, repeat after me. My channel is open.
My channel
is open.
open.
I let go.
I let go.
I'm in the flow.
I'm in the flow.
Flow.
Oh,
Love and goodness are mine now.
Love and goodness are mine
Mine
now.
now.
And so it is.
So it is.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yay. Woohoo.
all right. This is exciting, kids. Don't